Welcome back. We have another movie with The Running Man, directed by Edgar Wright, starring Glenn Powell, Josh Brolin, Coleman Domingo, Michael Cera, and a lot of people are in this. I think Katie O'Brien. I'm disappointed in this movie. I literally said to my fiance, I better laugh. Like, this movie should be funny, poignant and interesting, but the movie just for glimmers, small little glimmers, is the movie actually funny, actually having fun, and also I wanted to see. I know people keep saying, "Oh, Glenn Powell's like Tom Cruise." I don't think. No, he's not. Tom Cruise has a level of commitment to acting that is commendable, and not because it just like Tom Cruise when he plays a character, he believes he's that character. Like Ethan Hunt is Tom Cruise. Like he goes always all for it. He never is just, I don't know. And I think Glenn Powell's performance was sometimes subdued, and it felt like he was acting, not like he was there and like having fun. And some scenes some scenes were good, but for the most part, I thought his performance, I was like, this is not working for me. Let me read the log line. Desperate to save his sick daughter, working class Ben Richards is convinced by the running man's charming but ruthless producer to enter the deadly competition game as a last resort. But Ben's defiance, instincts, and grit turn him into an unexpected fan favorite and a threat to the entire system. That's so there's danger. Sorry, someone sent me a text. I just kind of got distracted. Yeah, but whatever. This movie, all I want to say is Michael Cera, Coleman Domingo, especially, like, he had you wrapped up into this world. He had you. He was like, I'm Bobby T. Like, he really was like, boom. He punched the glass and was in the world. And I think, and Michael Cera did that too. Like this. And like he's like my dad, like he had a hot dog stand. Like it's like that's the funniest story, but also it gets to the point. And I think that's what the movie was missing. Like I don't know, Glenn Powell just wasn't. And I think Glenn Powell is funny. I think Glenn Powell has good comedic timing, but in this movie he was just not in the movie like Coleman Domingo and Michael Cera were. I think they were the only two actors that understood the assignment. Josh Brolin even felt like, even though he just playing he felt subdued. Everything just like everyone felt like they were holding back. And even Edgar Wright's direction in his writing. Edgar Wright, I'm like, hey, this guy made Hot Fuzz. Hot Fuzz is a lot of fun, gets to the point, and the actors, they get it. They get the assignment. But here, and maybe he really did just make, something that missed the mark. But also, I have a feeling studio meddling. That's why, and this movie is produced by Paramount, who's, totally trying to tank their stock right now with, this whole MAGA movement they're trying to follow. Like, it's pathetic. And there's a feeling of studio meddling in this movie because I'm like, there are points where you're laughing and you're like, okay, this is fun. The action's good. Action's fine overall. But it's just, I don't know. The movie wasn't working, and the coloring is kind of whack. Yeah. I just felt like this movie was subdued, and it really was a disappointment in terms of what it could have been, and that's why, Coleman Domingo and like Michael Cera, I bet filming their scenes was really because they were bringing the energy that this movie needed the whole time. Having fun, but also this is a dangerous world, and you never really feel that. You never really feel that. They even had one of the guys from SNL, one of those I forgot what that trio's called. One of those guys. I mean, he was fine. It was just like, this is not working. I needed everyone to say, cut. Can we do it again? But like, come on, more energy, more. I know Maud Apatow was in there, and she has a scene where she's like yelling at Glenn Powell. It is not good. It was just like cringe. And then there's this kid. Oh my. This kid was a terrible actor. He was like, the goons are all around the hood. They're surrounding us. Like every line he said was so bad. And I know his older brother, he was trying. Yeah, I don't know. The acting was bad. The performances were weird. That's what I'm saying. I think it was studio meddling. I feel like there's a version of this film that could have been really a lot of fun, and it just wasn't. Even in the serious parts don't work because it's like we're taking down the system, but it's like in a way that, of course, Paramount would make it in this way. That's what I'm saying. I think this. I'm not gonna. I don't know if I could say that, but I think this wasn't in Edgar Wright's hand. I think they jumped in on that editing process, and I think they changed a lot. I don't know. It was weird. I didn't like it, but there were points where I was having fun. But for the most part, you're like, it's hit or miss. This is truly a hit or miss. Like certain scenes are hit or miss. Sometimes scene really hits and it's really good. Then sometimes a scene totally is flat. And that's all I was like, okay, Edgar Wright is talented. Edgar Wright is really a good, director. I love watching his films. But this was just like, I don't know. That's what I'm saying. The studio had to have meddled in this. And that's what the feeling is with this. And Glenn Powell just, he didn't, I don't think he met the moment. You know that scene where in the new Mission Impossible where like Ethan has a key and it's like the helicopter behind him here blowing, he does like he is in that scene. He is acting like the world's in my hands. And it's like you feel Tom Cruise in this. And then even in Tom Cruise dramatic roles, like you feel him in the world. And I feel like Glenn Powell wasn't in the world enough. Like he just wasn't there. Lee Pace was in this too. I like him as an actor. I like his face. I like how his presence is in films. But kind of a thankless role that he's in. Yeah, this movie just didn't do enough. It didn't do enough to have fun and really feel the energy. That's what I'm saying. Only Coleman Domingo and Michael Cera brought that energy that this movie needed to have, like this chaotic. Imagine this chaotic world in this authoritarian way, like this one network controls everything, and I feel like it wasn't enough. It just wasn't enough. But truly, the bad actors were Maud Apatow and that kid actor he was just so weird and like I don't know what was going on. I didn't like it. And then shout out to Robert Daniels. Glenn Powell having a black child, yeah, I don't believe it. They had no chemistry at all. I was saying it didn't work. Yeah, it didn't work. Yeah, that's all I gotta say. Thanks. That was the Running Man. Let's keep it simple.